How much was salt worth in ancient Rome? I've heard people say it's more valuable than gold per gram and that Roman soldiers were actually paid in the stuff. I mean, our word for salary does come from the Latin word sal, so maybe there is some truth to it after all. I think we should actually look at the evidence to determine how much salt was worth in ancient Rome, but before we do that we should note how important salt was to ancient Rome and ancient societies in general. Not just because the human body needs salt to survive, but it was also pivotal in preserving meat and fish. This made the difference between starvation and thriving in the ancient world. It is very rare that we have preserved the prices of goods and services in ancient economies like Rome, but under the Emperor Diocletian, prices were skyrocketing. So he decided to issue an edict which set the maximum price for goods and services throughout the entire empire, although we only really have surviving documents from important cities in the east. Now it should be noted that these are the maximum prices that Diocletian wanted to see happen. It's not clear whether this actually happened in reality, but it does give us some clue about how much goods should be worth, especially in comparison to one another. So we see that one double bushel of salt, which is about 17.5 litres, would come to about 100 denarii. At this point in the empire, the denarius is no longer a silver coin, it's actually a unit of account. They stopped using these silver coins for about 50, 70 years by this point. An unskilled labourer could expect to earn 25 denarii in a day, so they could save up 4 days' wages to buy one double bushel of salt. But that doesn't really help us figure out how much salt was worth, because labour and salt must have had a different relationship back then, and they certainly did, because the same amount of wheat would also cost you 100 denarii. So salt and wheat per weight and volume were effectively the same. So salt really didn't have the value that many people assumed it did have. And to be honest with you, this should be fairly obvious, because all you need to do to make salt is boil some seawater in a cauldron or perhaps some ceramic container like they did all over the coast of the Roman Empire. Even in backwaters like Britain, there was salt production everywhere along the coast. Here's an example that was found in Leiston a couple of years ago, a small scale production showing that it wasn't just the rich and powerful who had access to these salterns, it was also everyday people too. So what about that salary then? The fact that Roman soldiers were paid in salt? That is also a modern misconception. Roman soldiers in the early empire were paid in Roman coins, particularly silver and gold ones. As coinage became less valuable over time, the Roman soldiers started to trust the coins less and less. So they started demanding payment in bullion, so that's silver and gold bars like these ones you can see here, but also in kind. So they wanted things like wheat, salt, meat, instead of these coins which were becoming really obsolete and worthless in many parts of the economy. So part of a late Roman soldier's pay packet was made of salt, but not all of it.